Is Josh okay, or do you like Joshua?
Josh is fine.
People call you Josh.
Nothing. You okay with the hands?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Have a seat.
Can I put my thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Get comfortable. Have a seat. Cover the downstairs. Nice guys, right? Pretty painless process. So, did they read you your Miranda warnings downstairs? So, let's go over those quickly because I want to make sure that you understand them very clearly, okay? Can you tell me a little bit about your understanding of your Miranda warnings?
Yeah, I have the right to remain silent. Anything I can say will be used against me in the court of law. I have the right to an attorney. Anything the rest of it.
That's okay. So, like, what does that mean to you? If I say to you, you have the right to remain silent, what does that mean to you?
So I don't say anything.
Okay. Do you have any questions about that at all?
No.
Okay. So, I'm going to go through them one by one. Again, this is in fairness to you. I want you to make sure that if you do choose to talk to us, that you understand your rights. It's really important, okay?
Excuse me, do you mind if I take
No, I want you to go ahead and drink and just but pay close attention to what we're talking about because this is very important, okay? You're going to read each one, and if you would, just read the first one out loud for me.
I have the right to remain silent.
Okay, and if you understand that, can you just initial there? And what's the second one? So we're going to go through all of them.
If I talk to any police officer, anything I can and will be used against me. Anything I can say will be used against me. Okay, so
Do you understand that?
I'm nervous.
Okay, I understand you're nervous. So we're just going to take it easy, and I want to make sure that you understand everything, okay?
Yes.
You understand that one?
Yes.
Okay. You can initial.
If I have the right to consult with a lawyer before I answer any question, and I may have a lawyer with me during questioning. I understand that. I have the right to a lawyer appointed for me if I cannot afford one before I answer any questions.
You understand?
Yes. I know that if I answer questions, I have the right to stop answering at any time. Yes.
So what does that mean? What does that, like, if you could put that in your words?
If they start asking me questions, I can stop.
Pretty simple, right? Not complicated at all. Okay?
I may stop answering questions at any time if I wish to talk with the lawyer, and I may have him with me during any further questioning. I understand that.
You can also get a female attorney if you'd like to. So her.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm willing to answer I'm willing to answer questions and make a statement knowing that I have these rights. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I know and understand what I am doing. I do this freely and voluntarily, and no threats or promises have been made to me. I'm not sure what that means.
Okay, so what you're saying is you're waiving your rights at this point in time, and we can talk more about that if you like. The reason, of course, I would be interested in speaking to you is to understand your side of the story. Because like I told you downstairs, we had one side of the story. We have conversations, excerpts of conversations, but we don't know what you were thinking, what you were intending to do, and we want to make sure that we understand everything very clearly. But you don't have to speak to us, so.
Okay. So can I initial?
Yes, if you'd like to.
As long as you understand it and you're okay with it, yeah.
Okay. Should I sign here?
Yes.
That's you.
Okay, do you have any questions whatsoever about this?
No.
Okay. Let me just ask you a couple of questions here. What's your current address? Because your address showed on your ID.
Yeah, that was right. I recently moved.
You moved to Queens?
Yes.
Okay, what's your address?
72-15 67th Street, Glendale, New York, 11385.
Is Glendale in Queens?
Yes.
Are you always from New York your whole life?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like one of the tourist ones that go in and take the S train right up to Times Square. I've seen the Naked Cowboy once or twice. Have you ever seen him?
No.
You probably never go to the tourist areas, right?
No.
to a real New Yorker. I go to Yankee games and to occasional play, and that's about it.
Josh, how far did you go in school?
High school.
Graduated?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you describe your ability to read and write?
Very well.
And write as well? Very well?
Yes.
Don't wait on us. We've already eaten dinner, so we're good to go. You're the hungry guy. Okay, so obviously you know that we want to understand a little bit about what brought you to Fairfield, Connecticut tonight. So we're hoping you could explain that to us.
To meet a young girl.
I'm pardon me?
To meet a young girl.
Okay. How young? What's her name? How did you meet her?
12.
She told you she was 12?
Yes.
Okay. How did you first encounter her?
On an app.
What was the app called?
Link.
Link? Okay. Is that an app that you've used in the past?
No.
This was the first
This
time?
is a new app to me.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Link, because I'm old.
It's an app where you talk to people.
Is it intended like there's some apps and websites where the intention is for you to make romantic connections, or
It's whatever you want. I mean,
just to meet people?
To meet people.
With no
talk
intention?
to people.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
So it's not, by its nature, it's not designed to meet or target a certain type of person, whether they be old, young, male, female.
It's all ages there.
Got it.
Anyway, so if you wanted to kind of talk to somebody, a 40-year-old male, for whatever reason,
You can.
It doesn't exclude that.
Yeah.
So what was the screen name that you were using?
Screen.
Or username?
I don't even know. I have so many.
What's that?
I have so many.
You have other different accounts that you do that? Meeting people?
Yeah, dating sites. Badu.
What?
Badu.
Badu?
Badu?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I don't even have Facebook, so it's going to be, you have to be patient with me.
Yeah. He's pretty slow with the internet stuff, and I'm not too far behind him.
I spelled Badu. What is that?
B-A-D-O-O.
Badu. Got it. Okay.
So you went on, you created this account, and how soon after you created the account do you think you met?
Maybe a week, 2 weeks.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. And what was her screen name? Do you remember?
Just like Jenna Armstrong was what I could see.
Jenna Armstrong. Okay. And you reached out to her first, or did she reach out to you?
But I don't remember. I mean, we were in a chat room, so.
So there's multiple people there?
I got into the conversation.
Okay. Can you just tell us a little bit about, like, you know, so I don't have to, like, keep asking questions. Just tell us a little bit about, as early as you remember, your first conversations and kind of how your relationship with her developed from that first contact.
I don't have to answer these questions, right?
You don't?
Okay. I'm not gonna answer.
You don't want to answer that. Are you comfortable answering other questions, or
I mean, do I get a lawyer?
would you like a lawyer?
I get a public defender.
That really kind of depends on your,
Yeah, it
you would
depends
apply
on
for that, but if you would like an
your
attorney,
situation.
then we're done. Then we're not going to talk anymore, so that's up to you.
I mean, I'm answering these questions is going to incriminate myself, obviously, right?
It depends. I mean, I don't know. I told you before that it's going to allow us to understand your side of the story.
And we can't predict what you're going to say, so could you potentially say something that's incriminating? Of course. Could you also say something that maybe explains things? Of course. But without being in your mind knowing what you're going to say, I don't want you to feel like we're trying to trick you, because you're not, but we don't know what you're going to say. You know?
No, I mean, just
To be fair.
To be quite honest, I mean, I was on the site, I was a very young girl, and I came to meet her. I mean, that's all I can say.
Okay. And you asked her how old she was?
Yeah.
And what did she tell you?
So it's all.
Okay. Did she tell you when she was turning 13?
I don't remember.
Okay. And is 12 an age that you're comfortable with? That's your preference, or was there something special?
I date all ages.
What?
Huh?
I can't hear you.
I date older, younger. I mean, not younger than 12, but 12 and up.
Okay. Have you dated someone in this age group before?
No. When I was 21, yes.
A 12-year-old?
No, a 16-year-old.
Okay. Okay. All Right, so can you tell us a little bit about how your relationship with Jenna ultimately brought you to Fairfield?
I don't know, I felt comfortable talking to her, and I had anybody to talk to her, and since my mom died, so it was just like talk to somebody. So,
When did your mom die?
2011.
2011?
Yeah.
Do you live alone right now?
I live with my brother.
Older or younger?
He's 1 year older.
Okay. You guys get along pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your dad around?
Yeah, he's around, but he's not alive.
He's not alive?
He's not a reliable person, so I don't really go to him things like this.
Okay. So you're how old? 32?
Yeah.
That's tough. I lost my father 12 years ago, so I don't know obviously what you're going through exactly, but I know it's tough to go through. And I have an older sister, so similar to you, but not exactly the same. Did you feel that losing your mother, I mean, you mentioned it, so obviously it's somewhat relative to...
Yeah, when she died, kind of part of me died with her.
Yeah.
Some days I was, kind of wanted to, kill myself. And other days I'm okay.
Yeah. Do you talk to anybody about that?
No.
No therapy or anything like that?
No, they told me I should have got therapy, but I can't afford therapy.
You have insurance that would cover that?
No, I only got the insurance in the company and I'm okay.
Okay. So how about your brother? Do you talk to him?
No, we don't really talk like that.
You guys are kind of like roommates, or?
I don't tell him I love him and stuff like that.
No?
I never did. We were never that super close. But I love him. But I just don't say I love him.
You guys are different, right? I mean, everybody shows love and affection in different ways, right? But, maybe your brother would be a good support for you. Does he share his feelings with you about, losing your mom?
No. I mean, he says he misses her, but, he says, well.
Where does he work?
Same company.
Okay.
I got him in.
You got your big brother a job?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's working on a shitty company.
So, from where we're sitting, obviously, you're a good guy. Would you agree with that?
No, I'm not a good guy.
Why do you think that?
Because I want to meet a young girl.
So, I've been doing this a long time. Do you remember my name?
Carrie?
Yeah. Do you remember his name?
No.
Of course not.
I had to remind him, though.
No offense taken.
I had to remind
But
him.
you never said it.
Jason.
Oh, you did.
I think she said it.
That's okay.
She spoke for me like most women do.
We've been doing this a long time, and you kind of get a sense for people, and please tell me if you disagree. And I think that there's people that are good that make a bad decision, and I would kind of put you in that category. And if you think for a second that me or Jason have never made a bad decision, think again, okay? So this was a bad decision, and our job, I guess you could say, of course you're going to be held accountable, which you're clearly doing, okay? But we want to make sure that we can understand. We want to see if there's anybody else out there that might be doing the same stuff. See what I mean?
Okay.
So that's why we're very interested in understanding this process and how you went from sitting on a keyboard somewhere to then getting in a car and driving across the state line. You know what I mean? So that's why if you could just, in your words, just help us to understand.
That's it. That's all I have.
Okay. How does the relationship go online? I know when you're talking to somebody online, you've got her name, she tells you how old she is, you tell her you're how old?
32.
You're 32, okay. At what point does it become like a sexual conversation, and how does that happen?
No, I don't know. I mean, it just came up, yes. Just because it was on my mind. But
Did she send you pictures of herself?
Yeah.
And did you send pictures of yourself?
I guess, I don't know.
Okay. Would you say that you were sexually attracted to her
Yeah.
right off the bat, or was it something that developed over conversation, or?
I guess over conversation.
Okay. So whose idea was it to come to Connecticut tonight?
Well, I really don't remember. I mean, she did mention that I was going away or something like that. And she said, oh, I guess, I'm not sure. You have all the text messages, so.
Do you have any idea how many text messages there are? There's a lot. We really don't have the opportunity to go through them like that. Not yet. At some point in time we will. You know, this has been, as you can imagine, kind of a crazy day. We weren't anticipating this at this level.
I don't know what to say.
You know, plus sometimes like.
I got paid for it, so that's all I can say.
Okay. Are there are there other people right now in this particular time that you're also talking to?
Yeah, I was talking to a lady on Badu.
On Badu. And how old is she?
She's 27.
She's 27. Okay.
This is the only one.
Right now.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. When was the last time you maybe spoke with somebody who was in that age group, 12, 13?
It's been a while.
It's a while.
I
You know, go ahead.
No, I mean, I talked, but I never actually went to meet them because I was always afraid
Of what?
to be like on that guy's show.
That's what you were afraid of?
Can't say that I blame her.
So I was facing meeting and movements. What else to say?
Well, what exactly, if you could erase him from walking into the kitchen today, what was your intention? What do you envision yourself doing right now if that hadn't happened?
You guys know already.
I have an idea. I mean, but listen, there's a big difference between typing words on a computer and follow through.
I don't know, I was gonna hang out. I guess that's it.
Your intention was to have sex with her?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you talk about like what kind of sex? Oral sex, anal sex, vaginal sex?
No.
Just,
none of that. Just,
you didn't talk about specific stuff
No.
like that? Okay.
no.
You wrote one thing that I did read that kind of caught my attention, and it made me think a little bit. You wrote to her something about people don't understand. They look at this like age relationship thing as wrong. Do you remember writing that?
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, you wrote it really nicely, not the way I just said it. What does that mean?
I mean, because love doesn't know an age. You know.
Do you feel like you loved her?
No.
No.
I didn't.
Did you tell her you loved her?
Yes.
Why?
I guess the kind of pull in, I guess, or something.
To pull her in?
I guess.
Do you feel that way about those relationships, though? That like they're okay, but some other people think that they're wrong?
No, what do you mean? Like,
I wish I could remember exactly the way you worded it, but it was intriguing. You know, you wrote, some people wouldn't understand love between an older person and a younger person, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand. Do you really feel that way, or?
I'm not really that much. I mean, it's nice to date someone that's older where you can go out together and drink and, I guess I was feeling that I was a bit, try it with a young girl.
Try with it, but why?
I never did it before, so.
Okay. What do you think would be different about a sexual experience with a young girl versus an older person your age?
An older person with more experience. I guess in some way I can have, I guess, power, I guess.
Power of having an inexperienced person?
Yeah. It's like when I was younger, I had sex with an older woman when I was 19. She was about 35. And she took my virginity, so I kind of. Yeah, she said she was a virgin. You know.
She was a virgin?
She said she was a virgin.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, but she's told.
I thought you meant the 35-year-old.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't a virgin. I was a virgin.
Oh, the 12-year-old today said
Yeah.
that she was a virgin?
Yeah.
And you liked that she didn't have experience?
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Do you have an active girlfriend now? Somebody you would call a girlfriend, or
No.
you're single right now?
Single. And that's why I'm on the dating side.
Have you been single for a long time?
About 4 years.
4 years.
Ever since my mom died, couldn't be with anybody. It's hard.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
No.
Tell me about your family.
No.
Yeah, you mentioned your brother and a father that you don't have much of a relationship with.
Yeah, my father is a piece of shit.
Oh, okay, so it's worse than that.
He put my brother in a big bind right now with the IRS. Committed fraud. What was I going to say? Just put my brother in a big hole.
Your father committed fraud?
Yes.
Were you doing identity theft or something?
Basically, he signed my brother's name onto the company. My brother didn't own it, so now the IRS came, seized all his funds. And basically, my brother's broke because my father's not taking responsibility.
So,
That's my father, that's my stepfather. My biological father lives in Puerto Rico, and he's a retired cop.
He was a cop down there?
He's a cop in New York.
Okay. You mentioned that when we're talking about setting a bond, did they set a bond yet?
I haven't checked.
You would call your uncle?
Yeah.
Who's your uncle? Mom's side?
He's my employer.
Oh, okay. Do you know his number?
That's the thing. It's in my phone, and I don't memorize, these new phones.
You don't have to know anything.
Yeah, you don't have to memorize phones anymore.
So you don't have
Very
to.
true.
You don't have to know anything at all anymore.
I know my number.
Yeah.
That's about it.
You go.
So,
Yeah,
with you,
I don't memorize, so that would have to go. You guys would have to go on the phone. I could tell you exactly where it is.
Yeah, that's fine. We could do that for you. That's not an issue.
definitely. So, you're a smart guy. You probably already figured this out. We're going to be hanging on to your phone for a little while.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if there was anything that was found in the car.
The car was clean.
Did you stop anywhere between home other than
Well, I
there?
went to get gas, and then went to CVS.
What did you buy there?
Condoms.
Anything else?
I bought Listerine patches for the mouth.
Yeah. I could use one of those right now.
3-pack.
What's that?
3-pack.
Okay. Perfect. What CVS did you stop at?
Fresh Palmer Road.
It was in New York, right?
New York, yeah.
So, how do you see this? Like, what do you think should happen with you with
I mean, I
this?
don't know what the next process, what's the next step.
So, they told you what you were charged with downstairs.
There's 3 counts or something,
There were 3 separate charges, and there was a criminal attempt to commit sex assault in the 1st degree. Criminal attempt because you didn't actually sexually assault somebody, but the crime, had there been a 12-year-old girl and you had sex with her, that would have been a sex assault in the 1st degree. Okay? Criminal attempt to commit risk of injury to a minor, which is just risk of injury is just any kind of crime really involving a juvenile in Connecticut.
Okay.
Can't see that one.
Which, based on her age and your age, makes it a crime. That's the issue.
Okay.
And then enticing a minor, which
And that's what basically doing what you did over the internet, some of the things that you said, and correspondence fits that statute. So that goes hand in hand.
So what happens now is they'll put a bond on you. Like I told you in the car, it will probably be pretty high.
What was high? 10,000.
Probably higher than that.
It could be more. The issue you're going to have, unfortunately, is that you don't live in the state of Connecticut. So the issue and concern would be that if you were potentially to get released, whether it's on a bond or a PTA, that, you know, it might be a struggle to get you to come back. So that's part of the problem, you know, that may have the bond being. But we'll find out when we're done here. That'll be priority number one. We'll find out what the bond is, and we'll let you know. And you'll be able to make phone calls to try to.
And if I can't get the bond paid?
So what happens then is you would spend the weekend with us, Friday night and Saturday night, and you'll go to court Monday morning. And that's, you mentioned in the car, a judge, so you'll see a judge on Monday morning. You'll have an attorney, a public defender assigned to represent you at the arraignment. From there, they'll do an assessment to see if you qualify for a public defender. If you can afford your own attorney, you know, then obviously you're free to do so. But there'll be a series of court dates that you'll have to come back for, typically like 6 to 8 weeks apart, okay? That's if you bond out. If you don't bond out, then you stay in custody until you can either reach bond.
How does the bond work?
So let's say they put a $100,000 bond on you. That means you have to come up with $100,000, which is a lot of money. Lots of people don't have that, including me. Or you can use a bondsman. Are you familiar with how that works?
No.
A bondsman typically requires 10%. Sometimes on a higher bond, they'll do it for a little bit less. So you would come up with $10,000, and they would put up the rest of the money, believing that you will continue to appear in court. All right? So let's see what we can do. I mean, obviously you've been completely cooperative. Here you are talking to us.
All that factors in.
It does factor in. Okay, but again, on the other hand, the charges are fairly serious, and you do live out of state. So, okay.
And every time I come to court, I have to come all the way out here, right?
Yeah. You go to Bridgeport, which is actually the next town up, right off the highway. All right?
Okay.
Do you think that you need help in some way? Does this having this happen to you, like the worst case scenario? Do you feel like maybe you need help?
No, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the movie Scared, the show Scared Straight.
Is this basically it right now? You're scared straight?
No, I'm not going to do this ever again.
I think it would be really, it would make me feel a lot better. You know, obviously an investigation now is going to happen after the fact. Here we're going to look into your electronic communications with people. If you've had any contact, any communication of a sexual nature with people, you know, younger people, now would be a really great time for you to tell us about it.
I mean, you're going to see it anyways.
Right, but it saves us an awful lot of work.
And does it lower the bond amount?
It's not necessarily that lowers the bond,
It
but
shows your cooperation level, certainly.
listen, right now you're the one telling the story. You're the one that gets to paint the picture. If we have to be the ones to dig and find this information, and all of a sudden we're kind of writing your story from that point forward, you have an opportunity to do it now and explain it now, as opposed to us doing it. So that's, you know, this is an opportunity for you to do that if you want it.
In that same website area, that same chat area?
No, it's not.
Which one is it?
I don't remember.
You mentioned links already. You mentioned Badu.
Yeah, but Badu, they're all,
How about this?
they have to be
How about-
all over a certain age.
Oh, you just, well, that's you have to write that you're older over a certain age?
Could it be Whisper? That's one that we're familiar with. Have you heard of that one?
No.
No?
I mean, I did have sexual relations with someone older than 12,
How old?
15.
When was that?
A few months back.
Okay, and where did that happen?
And was it a similar situation, Stephen, like this, like we met over the internet? And
Yeah.
I mean, Josh?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember her name?
It's not a her.
Okay. Do you remember his name?
Dave.
David? Remember anything about where he lived, or?
He lived alone.
He lived alone at 15?
His parents lived in China. And they send him here to school.
So he lived with another family?
No, he lives in someone's house. A friend of the family.
Oh,
But he
well,
lives alone.
okay. Do you still maintain contact with David?
I haven't heard from him in a few months. I'm assuming he's still in China because last time at the summertime he said he was on vacation over there, and I haven't heard from him since.
Did you meet with David one time or more than one time?
One time.
And what happened when you met with him?
Yeah, thanks.
Can you, I know it's a little bit embarrassing or whatever, but can you go into a little bit of detail about
Was
what
it
exactly?
oral sex? Was it?
It was oral and anal.
He penetrated you, you penetrated him.
Penetrated him.
Okay. You don't remember David's screen name by any chance, do you? Just the app that you used to communicate with him?
He's on some Tango, something like that.
Tango?
You'll see it on Tango.
You remember anything at all about his screen name?
No, I just saw it as David.
And he told you he was 15?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else?
No, that's it.
Again, these things come out, and I know this is uncomfortable for you to share this stuff. It's really important that, you said you're scared straight, right? That we get everything out right now so it can all be reconciled right now. And you don't go downstairs back to the holding cell thinking you held something back, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school in the city, St. George Academy, private school.
Christian Academy?
It's Catholic.
Catholic? Okay. Is it the same Catholic school? Plaid uniforms? Well, the boys don't have to wear plaid.
Yeah, the girls have to wear plaid.
Right? Right? I want to make sure that we have everything out on the table so that when we go to talk to the prosecutor, we can say, this is a guy who kind of put it all out there and shared everything, that there's not going to be any surprises you're not going to find. He put it all out there and entrusted us to do the right thing with that. Because I don't think you're a bad guy. I don't think you're a monster. I think that you're trying to fill a void. I think that obviously losing your mom has left a tremendous absence. Is that accurate? And I think that people, when you lose, what's that?
I don't know, I'm not a psychiatrist.
Well, when you lose something, you want to fill that. You want to fill that emptiness with something else that makes you feel good. Your mom loved you, you want to feel love. It's a natural thing, right?
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that no one is getting hurt in the process. And I don't think you hurt anybody, but do you think what you're doing is okay?
No.
Do you feel before these things happen that they're wrong, or do you think that they're okay before they happen? Like sometimes people can rationalize in their own mind.
No, I feel like it's wrong before I do it.
So what do you think makes you
I was just wing it.
just wing it? Yeah.
No, I was gonna have a second dose today.
Today you were? What do you think kept you going?
Probably just, not having
When you communicate on these different apps, are they all on your phone?
Yeah.
Any laptop or computer, iPad?
No, I use everything on my phone.
Are you friends with people that you know do the same thing? Like, have you talked to, is there a buddy that you have that's like, you perhaps talked about some of these things and you guys help each other find these different apps, or this is a good one to go to if you want to? Does that happen?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
My friends, go on that site. I met my wife there, stuff like that. So I was like, why not? Let me try it out.
How about friends that share the common interest of younger people?
No.
Do you talk about this with anybody?
No, never.
Never?
No.
Because sometimes there's like, chat rooms where you can go where people have common interests. And I didn't know if that was something.
No.
Nothing.
I never told that to anybody. That was all secret.
You gonna call your brother later on?
You have a phone call, right?
No. I'll give you a couple phone calls.
Yeah, I have to call because tell him I call him when he gets. And we share the car together. He's gonna be worried.
I'll be right back.
You okay?
Is it possible to get some water?
Yeah, as soon as she gets back, I'll have her grab you some.
Thanks.
You know, the main thing that you need to understand is that, the people that we have to worry about, Josh, are the ones that don't tell us things or aren't honest. They're the ones that will be steadfast in their denials and they'll lie and do anything to keep things secret. Those are the ones that are really the problem because they wear the masks all the time. You've kind of taken your mask off in a sense, right?
Yeah.
You've opened up to us a little bit. Yeah, you've opened up to us a little bit, which we appreciate, A, because it does make our job easier and in a real selfish sense. And B, it really gives us some insight as to the kind of person you are, which is what we're trying to figure out, And the court is going to want to know what kind of person you are, and the prosecutor's going to want to know, and so all that factors in to what happens to you moving forward, to what you're going to have to answer to and how it's going to be dealt with, So I think you're doing a good job. I know it's not easy. Sitting in that seat is not an easy seat to sit in.
Yeah.
It does seem like doing this tonight was a little bit of a struggle for you. I can see that there was some, you were struggling inside a little bit with it, even from some of the messages that you sent. It seemed like you knew it was wrong, but for whatever reason, the urge was greater than, the devil and the angel situation, right on the shoulders, and just the devil was a little stronger than the angel on this one, So it would seem. But the main thing that we can't express enough is that if there are other people that you've spoken with or other people that you've seen, and we're going to find it, it really is in your best interest to.
Yeah, I told you. Yeah,
and it seems like you have. I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm just saying I want to make sure that you have a real clear understanding of that, And it seems like.
That's the only person I've had sexual relations with.
And would it be fair to say that since you already kind of had an encounter like that once before, and you already traveled to someone else like that once before, that could that have been part of what made this situation a little bit easier? Would help maybe the devil win this time because you already kind of did it once, and there's a comfort level. Would that be fair to say?
Yes. Yes.
Because that would make sense, What wouldn't make sense maybe would be if this was your first dry run, to travel such a distance and to do the things it took to get here and what have you, and to maybe a pretty bold thing to do if you've never even done anything close to it before. It'd be a pretty big jump. But it makes a little more sense that you got it, I think that's her comment. I think you want water.
Hey, Karen, can you just grab him one or two?
Actually, can I just ask him a couple questions?
Yeah, are you comfortable being alone with me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're good, right?
As long as you're good, I'm good.
Crazy. Okay, so your phone. 1, 2, 3. You know where I'm going, right?
Hmm?
Is passcode protected? Like with the pattern here? Can you just show me what the pattern is? The letter L? So start here and go down? That way?
That's it.
That means something?
I thought it was the easiest thing to put because they have so many passwords.
Don't you? Right? You just want to keep it simple. And how about your iPad?
iPad. That's my work iPad.
It's a Passcode to get in there.
0000.
Okay. I can remember that one. All right. So again, obviously this stuff is going to get looked at. Is there anything that's been deleted, or are there any photographs on there, videos on there that you're concerned about at this point in time?
Yeah, I have pictures of myself. Private pictures.
Perfectly legal. Okay. Are there any pictures or images or videos of younger people?
Yes.
Any people?
I got them off the site.
What site?
Link.
Link? Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about that?
You just go on this profile and you can just save image.
Are they saved in a particular folder, or?
Well, if you go to gallery, you're going to see them pop right up.
Kind of give me an idea of what we're going to be looking at. Boys, girls, about what age?
Both.
Boys and girls?
Yeah.
And what age group?
I guess about 12 around there.
Okay.
And older.
12 and older?
Older. 25 and up to as well.
Are there any hidden apps on your phone? Or any hidden files or anything on your phone?
No.
Are you a tech guy? Or are you kind of like more like me? And what's his name?
Jason.
And what's my name?
Carrie.
Right. Even though he called you Steven, you're allowed to get one wrong, okay? No hidden folders, nothing like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you had to kind of give us a very specific date of when you met David, as best you can.
It was before the summer. Excuse me. I don't know. Was the summer being June? Maybe April, maybe.
April?
Maybe.
And you had that particular car that you had? Yeah, so you had that car that you have today, the yellow one?
Yeah.
And you drove that to his house on Long Island?
Yes.
Okay. What does David look like? Where does he go to school and anything like that?
He's Asian.
It's Asian.
Chinese.
And did he know how to do it?
Yes. And I'm not the only one, he said. So he messes around with a lot of guys there.
Okay. Was there any kind of exchange of money or gifts or anything like that? Or just a consensual encounter?
Yeah.
That was consensual. That's what I said. Is there anybody else that you want to talk about?
No.
All right, so you have a pretty good understanding of the process, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what's next, but.
We've asked you all the questions. Why don't you ask us some questions?
I don't know what to ask.
Anything at all? Do you have any questions?
I don't know what's the next step.
The court?
Happens?
We talked about the court, right? You'll go to court Monday?
That's on Monday.
Yep. So you're going to spend the weekend here. And, if you make a couple phone calls. Basically, the way we work, this isn't a huge department. We're a relatively small department compared to what you're used to. If you're a gentleman, which you've been, you want to make a phone call, you're going to get a phone call. Okay? Don't make 4 phone calls. You're going to basically get 4, within reason. You're going to get 4 phone calls. The problem that we're going to have is we can't let you have your phone.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to come up with a different way to...
Well, I can tell you which numbers I'm going to call and
Okay.
tell you where they are.
Fair enough. Fire away.
Okay, so first number is B, and Lewis is my brother. That's the section. And Z section, Edwin Vasquez. I have it under Eddie Spaghetti. Spaghetti.
Is it VASQUZ?
Well, just put Eddie Spaghetti. That's my employer, my uncle.
Okay. And B, how's Lewis under B?
B. What do you mean? It's LUIS.
All right. And he's under B?
B section.
Why is he under B?
That's my close family. A being.
Oh, you have like full, like, okay. Got it. Who's an A?
You know, chicks.
Chicks come before family?
Mm.
Okay. So B, you're gonna find Lewis, and Z, wow. He doesn't rate too good, huh?
Okay, let me give you another one.
Go ahead.
You asked me if I was talking to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I was. She's in the A section. Naomi. She's 16.
And she
I
lives
just
where?
remember. She lives in Long Island.
Okay. When did you start talking to her?
A while back. I guess 2-3 months ago. But I never met her. Never sent any explicit photos. We just spoke.
Okay. All right. We'll get you Eddie Spaghetti's number and your brother's number.
I'm gonna call for the bond.
Once we know your bond is, we'll tell you. And the only other issue that we're going to tell you is that when you make your phone calls, because of the nature of this investigation and the way it's going, you can't say what your charges are. You can just say what your bond is. You can say that you've been arrested and that you're at the Fairfield Police Department in Fairfield, Connecticut. But you can't get into the nature of what's happened or what the charges are for now. Okay?
Yes.
We're obligated to tell you what the charges are. You know. Everyone else doesn't need to know.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, so that's the way it has to be.
You said I can call as many people as I want? Or
Well, I mean, yeah, we're
within
not gonna-
reason. I mean, it's not going to be a parade,
Just
but
at least call my father, just to let him know.
You know your dad's number?
Yeah, another one. It's 917-417-6536.
the first call you'd be able to make, the primary one would be in relation to your release. Once you find out what the number is, if you think
Yeah,
there's someone you can call
it'll be Eddie's Spaghetti.
to try to make that happen, Eddie Spaghetti would be the first call, and then beyond that, you may have to wait a little bit to make that second one. Okay?
Yeah, the second one will be my brother because he's probably worried.
Is he expecting you home tonight?
No, I told him we're going to be gone for the weekend.
Where'd you tell him you
Till
were
Sunday
headed?
morning.
Where'd you tell him you were going
To Connecticut.
to?
So I know we'll go.
Okay. Did he ask questions about that at all?
No.
Pretty normal stuff?
Yeah, you don't worry, so be careful.
Okay. All right, good deal.
Very good.
All right.
You want to take a
I'm
few
good.
more pulls of that before we bring you downstairs?
Yeah.
'Cause I'd love to let you sit here and eat all of it, but we're not going to be able to do that, so
Okay.
don't choke on it, but you can have some.
You said you're 32?
Mm-hmm.
What town were you born in? New York, New York?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's okay. And the birth date is
6/21/1983.
all right.
So as far as when I asked my uncle if he can whatever send the bond, how does that work? You guys take the phone from there and you tell him where I am, or
You can tell them where you are. I'll tell you what. Why don't we try and figure out right now what the bond is, okay?
okay?
And that way you will have an idea of how you want to formulate the conversation with Eddie Spaghetti.
We're gonna need your phone and iPad passwords.
Got it?
Got those right? I always forget to ask for those.
Okay, you too. Somebody online.
I don't have one on this number. I don't have anything crazy, you know.
Hey, it's Carrie. I'm sorry. Do you have any idea what we're doing with bond for Mr. Colon? Hey. Hey, what's up, Mike? What's the situation with bond for Mr. Colon? Yeah. Okay. Okay. He's, for what it's worth, Lieutenant, he's been very cooperative, and, you know, he's made some admissions of some other stuff that was helpful to us, okay? All right, so you were considering $1 million, but you're going to knock it down. Okay. Is it? All right.
750 is probably fair.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Very cooperative. Okay, and I also mentioned to him about like phone calls, how, you know, maybe NYPD Blue they say 1 phone call, but if he wants a couple more phone calls. All right, cool. Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye. So we had arrested somebody recently for similar charges, and we had put a bond on it of $500,000. The judge increased it to $1 million, $1.1 million, and that's what he was considering for you, but with the cooperation, I think he kind of had an idea before he talked to me. He's going to make it $750,000, which is very high. But
But how does the bond work? They put the $750, and what happens? They get it back, or they don't get it back?
if you put up $750,000, I can only tell you, like a typical scenario, you get it back unless for some reason the court assesses that fee. Now, a crime like this, it's typically not what happens, but I can't promise you that they wouldn't take a part of it. The bondsman, if you go down the bondsman road of $75,000, you have to put up, give or take, $75,000. That's gone. That's their fee. That's how they make money. All right? Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously you're probably going to spend the weekend here. A bond like that, I don't know a whole lot of people that could make that.
The judge could also potentially lower it too. Well, that didn't happen in the previous case that you mentioned. In fairness, that previous case had some nuances to it that are far different than yours. So there is also the potential of him lowering the bond, so you may be dealing with a smaller bond after you go to court.
Yeah, Monday.
They could reduce it. You go from $750,000 to $500,000, which obviously, if someone could help you, could save them some money. So maybe worth waiting, but that's a decision you're going to have to make when you make your call with your family, whoever you call.
I don't know if it's going to cover it that much.
It's just something to think about, obviously.
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Sure, yeah.
You can borrow from his wife or something.
Okay. Still hungry?
Can I get some more water?
Yeah, I'll give you one more cup of water and we'll go down, okay?
Appreciate it. Be right back.
When we go back downstairs, you know, we have to put handcuffs back on you, okay?
I understand.
We'll keep them on. We'll make sure that you're comfortable. You've been very much a gentleman.
So, if I don't get the bond, I'm obviously going to stay the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And go to court on Monday.
Right.
And then what happens after that? I just got to keep coming to court.
If you don't make bonds, you would stay in the custody. So you would stay. It wouldn't be here. You wouldn't come back to Fairfield PD. You'd go to probably Bridgeport Correctional. You'd go to the jail. And you'd stay there. And every time you have a court date, they're going to bring you back to court.
Also, I'll be there for
If you don't bond out, you could be. Yeah, if you
Oh,
can't
that's
make
fine.
bond, you stay in the custody, and that's, the bond is like the way that we make sure that you come back to court. All right, so you've got an interest in coming back to court. So, but if you can't make bond, yeah, they don't let you go. All right, so that would be then until your case is completed.
Which usually says a few months.
I mean, it's impossible for me to say. It could go, if you go and no agreement is reached with your attorney and the prosecutor,
You can seal that up too.
you could go to trial. You can make a deal before the case goes to trial. There's a long road ahead of you, okay? But it could potentially be a while, maybe even a year.
I got rent to pay.
You go, rent to pay?
Horrible.
All right, so So I think we're pretty much concluded with our interview here. So I'm gonna have you just sign right there. Just again acknowledging that the statement was voluntary. At any point in time, Josh, if you have questions, I'll let you know that Jason and I are available to you. We'll be here most of the day tomorrow, or I will be.
I'll come in tonight.
If there's anything else that you think of that you want to talk about, then you could just reach out to us, okay?
Okay.
All right. Handcuffs.
I have.
Let's do it. You go this way?
Yeah.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. As good as they can be.
Wow.